God bless you, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday where we share words of wisdom. Today's topic is don't ignore what could very well be beneficial information. Let me repeat that. Don't ignore what could very well be beneficial information. And you may be asking yourself the question, beneficial information for who? Well, could be very well you. It could be your family. It could be your children. It could be a friend. It could be for someone that you may meet, random person, someone that you love, someone that may be on your job. You just never know. But you don't want to ignore information that can be beneficial to you. Beneficial to you in the purposes of for yourself or for others. Sometimes, let me give this example. When you're communicating with someone or you're exchanging information with another person, a lot of times you're in those environments to feed off of one another. You know, you're pulling from one another. You're learning from one another. You're gaining something because there is an exchange going on. You are pouring in, then they in turn pour in. So all of this pouring is just not to be wasted. It's not to be taken lightly. Information is powerful. The word of God is powerful. A testimony is powerful. And those tools are necessary for us because we are human beings. We need one another. We need the friendship, the companionship. We need those types of relationships so that we can interact with one another and so that we can share things that we have encountered in our lives, helpful things, even if it's something like maybe a helpful tip or, sometimes people give you something that you could use in exchange for something else that could benefit you. You always want to make sure that you gain whatever it is that you need to gain from that individual. Sometimes when communication happens, not all the time is there an exchange. And what I mean by that is there may be someone that may be pouring into the other individual. But if that individual is not at a place where they are receptive, whether it be that it is just over their head or whether it just be that they're rejecting the information, or even, they just may have some mixed feelings, or they may be combative about the information because they know that what you're saying is true, but they don't want to receive it. That is a bad situation to be in, because at the end of the day, you want to be the best you that you can be. And if someone is trying to pour into you their wisdom, their experiences, their knowledge, because they've gone there, something that they have studied or researched, wouldn't it behoove you to take that information in instead of rejecting that information? A lot of times we find ourselves in situations where we could have probably easily won the battle. We could have easily went through with no problems. But because we refuse to listen to wise counsel, we refuse to listen to those that have poured into us for whatever reason, whatever biases and ideologies we may have had or thoughts, we refuse or we just ignored that information. And just like children, you think about children are like sponges. They absorb everything around them, and even from their family, their mother and father, they absorb what that mother or father pours into them. And they also absorb their actions, what they actually do. So we as adults, even though we're at a place of maturity, there are people that we need to absorb from. We need to absorb the information that's coming from them. And we need to be able to decipher what is going to benefit me. Sometimes even having that ear to just hear. And I think many of us have issues with just having an ear to hear, because, we're waiting for our turn so that we can say what we want to say. But if you're doing that, then you're not really gaining everything that you need from the person that's speaking to you. You're not giving them your full attention. You're not getting those little nuggets that you may need to carry you through whatever you may have to go through, or you may need that information for someone else that may very well go through something, in their life. And so we got to be careful with that. We don't want to ignore. We don't want to come off as knowing everything and in a position where no one can tell us anything. We don't ever want to be in those positions, because we want to always be in a teachable mode. You can learn from anybody. You can pull from anyone. You can receive from anyone, anything. I love listening to people, their stories and their lives, and what happened to them, and how what they've gone through changed them, or what they did that allowed them to be so successful, or whatever the case is. I love pulling from people. I love just listening to people. And sometimes, when you find yourself being teachable and absorbing what others are pouring into you, they will be in a place where they can trust you with what it is that they want to convey, the message that they want to convey to you. And they may say things like this: I don't know why I'm sharing this with you. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Because you have an ear to hear. Because you're actually receiving what it is that they are saying to you. And people want to be heard. They want their voices heard. They want their testimonies heard. They want what they've worked so hard for to gain as knowledge or information to be heard. And we want to be receptive when it comes to those who are pouring into us, and it's not always an easy thing to do, because sometimes, people can be very descriptive and they go into a lot of detail, and then sometimes our patience won't allow us to just sit and just listen and hear a person out. But sometimes when you really just pay attention and listen, that person will begin to show you their heart. They will begin to articulate their heart, what's in their heart and what they're dealing with, so that you may be in a position to give them a word of wisdom, or give them a revelation of what God is showing them. And as you listen, then God is in the plan as well. Then he will pour into you what you need to say to give that person some encouragement, or to give that person something to look forward to in life, and we need one another. We need one another to give those little nuggets to, and it's so vital, because, people are hurting, people are grieving, people have gone through so many things. And a lot of times when you conversating with people, you will find that many of the things that you have encountered in your life, they have too. Because God knows how to connect us with people who share our same heart, mind, have gone through some of the same encounters and experiences that we've gone through. And you'd be like, wow, God, that's amazing. Like, who would have ever thought I would have ran into such and such so-and-so? And then we just begin to talk about just whatever random topic. And then it just goes into something a little deeper, And so we don't want to ignore information that's being handed to us because, like I said, it can benefit you. And also, it can be a tool that can be used for you to be a blessing to that individual as well. Because if they go a step further in their conversation, if they go a little deeper, because sometimes, even in the conversations, and I say a lot of times, it's general. You're just talking about general things, general ideas, maybe it's work or maybe it's something that you're dealing with at home, and then it goes into something a little deeper than that, and it's like you getting into the meat of what it is that you may be struggling with or dealing with, and then that individual may add to what it is that they're encountering that coincides with what you're dealing with. And it's just like, it's almost like a scale, that has two different sides, and it's trying to level itself out because God connected you with that person for a reason. A lot of times God will send people to us. We don't know why. We don't know why we're giving attention to this person or that person. We don't know why we just decided to just say hello in an extra special way to someone. Because God may have a word for them, and you may be the very person that needs to give them that word. So you don't want to ignore, because you're listening to the heart of a person. They could very well be pouring their heart out because they need help, because they need direction, because they need to get focused, because they need something to encourage them, to give them hope, And so we don't want to ignore. We don't want to ignore that information because it's so rich. That information is so rich. We just don't know what it all entails. But if you just take the time to listen, if you just take the time to get to know people, you will be amazed at how they can be a blessing to you. And then you in turn can be a blessing to them. Don't ignore information that could very well be beneficial to you and to the other person as well. So that is our Wow Wednesday for today. I pray that it has encouraged someone. And this is one I just shooting from the hip message, because there's so many that I can, just really go into detail about, but that is the one that just kind of hit me today. And I just pray that you all have a blessed week. I pray that you all continue to be encouraged and to, make sure that you do not, and you use wisdom in every situation, but don't shut yourself off from what could very well be something that will help you along the way. Don't shut yourself off from someone who could potentially be a blessing to you because God sent them. And sometimes when you're praying, you asking God to show you, to tell you this, to do this for you, do that for you. Sometimes God will just send a person, a random person. I was talking to a sister in the Lord, and we work together. And so I was telling her how I went to I was actually working in this mental health facility. And there was a man in this facility that God sent to me to give me a word, because I had been praying and being before the Lord, and God sent me a man who did not have the mental capacity to even understand how to even minister to me in the way that I felt as though I needed to be ministered to, and gave me a word. And I knew it was God. I knew it was God because when the words came out of his mouth, it hit me in my spirit, man. And I was like, wow, God, you're everywhere. Wow, God, you're awesome. Wow, God, you're concerned about little old me, that you would touch someone who has a mental condition to minister to me. And I was there to provide a service because, I'm a speech therapist. That's what I do. So I'm like, wow, God will use anyone. Anyone. Don't underestimate God. Don't try to figure him out, because he always comes full of surprises. You just don't know how he gonna come. I know that's not grammatically correct. You don't know how he will come, but just trust God. Trust God, because just like he made you from the dust of the earth, you were predestined to be here. And there is no way that God will just thrust you out here in this earth and just leave you and toss you to the side. There is no way that he would do that. No way. He said, lo, he will be with you even to the ends of the earth. God is with you. He will be there when everything else fails. God will be there. So this is our Wow Wednesday for today. I didn't want to hold you all too long, but I love you guys. God loves you more. He has a great, awesome, awesome, awesome plan for you. You haven't seen the half of it. Your best days are ahead of you. All right, you all. Be blessed. Be encouraged. I will see you again next time on another Wow Wednesday. Bye-bye now.